TVA card.
What does that do for you?
No, but in house, no taxes, yeah.
Okay.
I never got pulled over. Yeah.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Okay, so again, Zakti Gemara Nachamo. We have a machlekes Rav and Shmuel. What's the machlekes? If Ksitzasa and Zui Asiyas is snipping the end. We have the case of the tzitzis. We have the case of the schach. Is cutting it enough to create an asiyah that it's as if you made it. Rav said the ksisa is enough, and Shmuel said it is not enough. Shmuel said it's asur la'aylam in the case of the tzitzis, and Rav said not. Says the Heilige Gemara, lema kitanoi. Let us suggest. Good Aleph and base. We are approximately smack in the middle of the narrow size lines. First word on the line is tala'an. Lema kitanoi. Let us suggest that the machlekes Rav and Shmuel is going to be a machlekes tonight. Now, there's a dot of background that we need to know, and this is a Mishnah on Daf Lamed Beis Amud Beis. So you can flip to your Mishnah. I have it quoted over here. I don't have the actual thing here, but the Mishnah on Lamed Beis Amud Beis discusses a hadas. Hadasim that we know look beautiful. They're green and they have 3 leaves going up. But there's in the world of hadasim, there's a problem. What's the problem? Says the Mishnah. No, keep it going. Go. Keep it going. Keep it going. Anavav merubim me'olim. What's in anavav? Grapes, berries. That hadassim had little berries in them. We don't really get these. Sometimes epis amol, you see epis a little red dot on ours, but we Baruch Hashem. But the shayla is hadassim. Rabeli, hadassim in the way that they're created. We knew you were going to come late, so we didn't have food. Hadassim in the way that they are created sometimes have little berries on it. Hadassim, so stayed in the Mishnah Lamed Beis Amud Beis.
It's possible.
If you have hadassim with more berries than leaves, it is possible. Says the Mishnah, but if you pluck off the berries, then what? It's kosher. Stayed in Mishnah. The Mishnah ends off, and the Mishnah says you're not allowed to do it on Yom Tif. No, what do you do? It's a brace. Slow. You don't look. The Mishnah stayed in Lamed Beis Amud Beis. You just saw that if you get rid of the berries, what's the halacha? It's kosher. Stayed in Mishnah. You're not allowed to do it on Yom Tif. Good. That's the Mishnah Lamed Beis Amud Beis. Comes along a brisa that we quote right now. Lema kitanoi avar. Let's say you did not listen to the chachamim who taught you not to pick the berries on Yom Tif, but you did it. You were a bad boy. Avar velikta Merev Tov Rabbi Rosenthal's. Avar veliktam. If you went and you plucked the berries, Pasal Devir of Shimon ben Yohitzadok. But v'chachamim machshirim. Chachamim hold it is kosher. So now, what is the machlokes between Rav Shimon ben Yohitzadok and the chacham? Again, we have a case of berries on my hadassim. I go and I pick off the berries on Yom Tif illegally. And now my hadas that is left seemingly looks beautiful. Says the brisa machlokes. Explains the Gemara, Savrua. Let's explain that what the Kulei Alma everyone holds. Lulav, Tzarich Eged. Everyone holds that in the din of a lulav, we're starting with. We're going back a little bit. Now, what's the din of a lulav? It needs to be Eged. What does Eged mean? You got to tie it up. Very good. You got to tie. We take stand motion as well. You got to tie up the lulav with what? With a dasim and a ravos. A dasim and a ravos. Was? Yeah, that's a nachashayla. But first you got to know. Yeah, it's all big deal. Don't worry. The real Haimishers do neither, and therefore it's kosher.
Something wrong that English is not my first language.
Baruch Hashem.
And it does not get me out of it.
And unfortunately, she doesn't know Hebrew, so.
English is my first language.
Lulav tzarich agal. Yeah. You have to tie up your lulav. Uyalfinan. And where do we learn this from? Lulav me sukkah. It says by your sukkah, ta'aseh, you have to create the sukkah. And it cannot be created on its own. So too when it comes to lulav, what is the asiyah? What is the creation of the lulav? The agid. The tying of the lulav together with the dalid minim. So at the moment that you tie it, everything has to be kosher. So says the Gemara, this...
In the morning in lulav, you shouldn't be able to take off.
Oh, we're going to get there. That is a good shayla. We're going to get there. Lamaisa, we know it's mutter. The shayla is why. Very good. We're going to get there. It says the Gemara, but my love, now circling back around to our machlekes of Shimon ben Yotzad again, the Chachamim, whether you pluck off the berries on Yontif, whether it's mutter. My love, this is the machlekes. Demand dimachshir, according to the Chachamim, that they said if you pluck off the berries from the das and yontif it's kosher. Savar, they hold amrinon. Gabe sukkah, they hold by sukkah that what? Kitzi sasan. Yes. Zui asiyasan. That the cutting off of the schach is the creation of the schach. And therefore, how does that, like Shmuel, like Rav, that cutting something creates it. So how does it help by us? V'gabe lulav, and with regard to lulav, nami amrinan, what? Likitasan, the picking, English is not working tonight. Zohiasiyasan, that is the creation. And therefore what? Therefore, even though you went and you plucked off the berries of your hadassim on Yontif, but then what did you do? Once you tied it all together, there's no longer going to be a problem of ta'asev loy minas. So we're going to have to see a Rashi in a moment, but before we get there, let's just finish reading the flip side of the Gemara, and then we'll go back to Rashi and we'll get more clarity.
Once you cut them off, not once you tie them off. It's already tied.
Oh, let's see Rashi in a moment. Good. Man, Nachmal. Kuli amloy bligi. No, I skipped. My lost place. Lo yafina man the apostle. And according to the one who says the apostle Shimon and the Tzaddik, what does he hold? He holds man the apostle savar yalfina lula me sukkah. No, I appreciate you reading. I just can't have to find it inside. I went. Here you go. Man the apostle, where if you're like myself and lost your place, how's that possible while you're reading? It happens. 12 lines from the white lines. First one line is the apostle. Man the apostle, Savar loya amrinan gabi sukkah. We do not say by sukkah, ksisan zuyasiyasan, meaning cutting it is not creating. And therefore, v'gabe lulav nami lo yamrina likitasan zuhi asiyasan. So now that we understand a little bit, let's go into Rashi, and Rashi is going to fill in the missing pieces. Says Rashi, the Kuli Alma. Go up to Rashi. The Kuli Alma. Yeah, Rashi's first one is pligi, about 15 lines of Rashi. Tarvayu hanach tanois virlu. Both of these Tanaim hold that what? Lulav sarech agad. La'agud. Shleisha haminim ke'echad. V'shaychi be'asiyah. So once we hold you need an agad, then we hold this something called an asiyas halulav. Let's just speak out what's the flip side. If you didn't hold that a lulav needed an agad, then what? Is there ever an asiyah of the lulav? You creating lulav? No, you don't create a lulav. God creates a lulav. You hold it together with your adas and rav. It's not called an asiyah. If you only have to wrap it, you have to be ma'agid, you have to tie it, then that's called the asiyah. Good. V'yalfinan lulav me'isakah. And we're learning out lulav from sukkah. Bebinyanav. Ma'amatzinu b'sukkah sheishba ma'isa. By sukkah, there's a ma'isa to create a vakbei the Torah la'asli b'psul af lulav kain. So now, there's more Rashi. No, what is going on here? Do we skip? 1 second.
The last Rashi
was previous, right?
It's on the next piece.
My lava kamifligi. 1 second. I'm sorry. I keep losing the place here. Good. So now, what does this No, this. 1 second. I'm sorry, Chavra. I apologize. There's one more Rashi we have to see.
The next Rashi on the next page.
I know that's what's bothering me because I want to see. 1 second. 1 second. I don't know what's going on in Rashi. Just go weiter. Look at Rashi of Shimon. That's the Rashi we need to see. Rashi explains it. What does Rav Shimon mean? Again, let's speak this out. We have two sheets. We have a Shimon ben Yitzadik ben Chacham. Shimon ben Yitzadik says that what is the din? Shimon ben Yitzadik says that it is possible if you if you pick off the berries. As long as we make sure there's a P at the front, we're good.
No
you
cough,
plick.
no
That's. Yeah, I was thinking that also. You pick off the berries on Yontif. Good. Flick off the berries. The slow. Man.
He says you can't.
Good. Rav Shimon Yitzhak says it's possible if you do it. Chachamim say it's kosher. State in Rashi. Rav Shimon Yitzhak that says it's possible. Savar lulav tzarich agad. Lulav man de mafsil savar lulav sarich agad. Says Rashi. Le'agud shleisha aminim v'shech b'esiyah. Val karcha, here it is. Me'ba'oid agdoi imanavav. That's the words of Rashi I'm looking for. That during the day you already tied it with the berries. V'chilaktai biyantif havalei min asui. And therefore it's considered ta'aseh v'loi min asui. So therefore it's a problem. That's why Rav Shimon Yitzhak says it's possible. So we're coming up with something fascinating. Yes, that's going to be the teretz. Yeah. Well, let's just go one step back for a second. Again, we have a machlekes of Shimon and Yitzhak and the Chachamim. What is the status if you knock off? We're just going to go with knock. You knock off the berries off the dasim on Yontif. Rav Shimon and Yitzhak says it is possible. The Chachamim say it's kosher. So you would think that it's an isolated machlekes regarding the hadasim. We're saying no, that's not the vart. The vart is. Do we say that a lulav sarich agad, and therefore when you did the igud, when you did the tying of your lulav, when? On Erev Yomtiv, what did you tie? You tied a hadas with what? Too many berries. Apostle hadas. So when you went on Yomtiv and knocked off the berries, what's the problem? The problem is now you didn't have dal and minim that was ma'agid together. Because when you tied it, it was possible. On Yontif, you go and you knock off those berries. Beautiful. Now you have a kosher hadas. But guess what? It start pre-tied. It's just like
only on Yontif, right? Because it was
yes.
What's the problem?
Because then you could do the igud now, which means
same thing.
correct.
Until you
Correct. So that's exactly what we're saying. It's good. Let's read it together.
It could be chalamite also. And the question is, you didn't do another igud, right?
Oh, Seder. Ulay, in a chanami. Seder. Good. Let's read it. Let's read it together. Nachamol. Lema ketanoi. Let's say what we just said is machlekes tonight. Avar v'loktam. If you picked off those berries, pasal divrei Rav Shimon Yitzadik v'chachamim achshir. Explains the Gemara. Savru atikuli amalulav sarich ekid. Everyone holds din number 1. Given you have to bind up your lulav. And everyone v'alfinan sukkah lulav me sukkah dersev me sukkah tasev lo mana asli. And everyone agrees that it's a din of tasev mana asli, which means that the moment you create the item, it has to be created b'hechsher. My love b'hakam ifliki. So says the Gemara. So what's the machlekes in Shimon Yitzhak and the Chachamim? Demand demachshir. According to the Chachamim, savar amrinan gabi sukkah ksisas and zuyas yasan. The cutting of it is the creation, and therefore v'gabi lulav nami. By lulav you don't have the cutting. What do you have? You have the lakita. What's the lakita? That's the binding. That's the taking it all together. V'gabi lulav nami amrinan likitas and zuyas yasan. So you created it. Therefore you created it. For the Chacham say it's going to be.
The reason why he's bringing back sukkah ksisas and zuyas yasan is because again we're continuing with the same binyan av that we were learning tasav levinasi. Why else is he mentioning? Right? What is he?
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Likitasan means knocking off the berries. Knocking off the berries.
Yeah.
So good. Likitasan, knocking off the berries. Zui asiyasan. That is the creation. So according to the Chachamim, what's the din? It's going to be kosher. Why is it going to be kosher?
Sukkahs also.
Because by sukkah as well, if you have your schach leaning down and you snip it off, it's kosher. I tasav lo min alsoi, echvais
They
nish.
yasi also.
Right.
Before it was nothing.
Correct.
How does the eged happen?
What?
Where does the igud happen if Zoya Yosan?
That's
No,
not,
so he holds the cutting of it is the way that you
The
did
makeh
asiyah.
b'patish, it's the
Just like
makeh
by the schach, when you put it down, you have a whole cycle. When I cut it, that's ki'ilu, I picked it up and put it down.
makeh b'patish,
So over
of the
here,
ma'aseh.
no, but it's more than
Of the
makeh
ma'aseh
b'patish.
asiyah.
No, it's more than a makeh b'patish.
It's different.
It's more than makeh
It's
b'patish.
the last.
Again, go to the sukkah.
Here's the problem. The difference is with the sukkah is you need to go and put on schach, right? So when you cut it, you're officially putting on.
Good,
schach.
and here,
Here, you don't have to put in the hadassim. You have to bind them together. Take
Yeah,
the
but
hadassim, put it back there.
So
Why
that's
isn't
called-
That's
isn't
called-
an act of
yeah.
binding.
that's what we're explaining. It's called the asiyah.
it's
What is
finalizing the
asiyah?
asiyah
Good.
of the binding.
That's what we're saying. Now you're asking a good question, and the Gemara's
I
going to
get what you're
continue.
saying. I agree with this
No,
one.
the Gemara is going to continue. That's
Different
in a chanam.
If you had a flower and then you took out the flower, now it's a proper lulav.
That's a good example.
thing.
It's an example.
No.
Yeah,
Before, you have these
that's
little
called the
berries.
asiyah. That's called the
No,
asiyah.
the exact opposite. If you would have that, then exactly you'd have a problem.
No.
If you would take an igud, you
Yeah.
would bind them all together.
Yeah.
With the flower stuck in the
Good,
middle.
good.
And then on Yom Tov you take out the flower.
Yeah.
Then you'll have the problem of tasvil.
No, not according to the Chachamim, because they all likitosan zuyasiyas. And what all that means, those words mean
different
that
thing,
by removing something, it's called creating. So by the schach, it's snipping. By the hadassim, it's knocking off the berries. And we'll say over here, it's by doing this.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Because the Gemara Asiyah, that's the Gemara Asiyah.
I don't care about the Gemara.
Make-
What I
yes.
mean here is
And
what I
Asiyah
mean
without the
here
Gemara
is-
is not an Asiyah.
Okay,
So you
say
need the
there.
Gemara without the Asiyah.
I mean, it's machlekes, right? So we can't.
No, but it makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
No, it doesn't because you have again. The
No, it has
difference
to
here
make
is-
sense. You can't say that.
No,
You're saying
I
it's
mean, I
hard.
agree, yes,
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
The
It's hard.
difference is between schach. There's obviously a difference between schach.
Schach, also the schach already is lying there.
I
You're
agree,
just
but
cutting.
you're cutting it.
You're not putting the schach on top
The idea
again.
is what is the idea? Yeah, the idea is that the problem is with the schach itself. So the problem with the schach. So I fixed the problem
Say
with the
there-
schach.
no, but
It's
that-
not
No,
putting
but
on
you,
the schach.
you didn't actually build the schach.
You
That's
didn't
why we're
have-
saying that you have to like shake it, right?
Yeah.
Why did it
No,
shake it?
because by
Because
schach.
that's the problem.
1 second. By schach, you didn't have
same
a,
thing.
no. Stop saying.
I
same
can
thing.
explain this chalik. No, I'll explain. I'll explain you
By
chalik.
schach, the problem is you have to put the schach on top. So as long as it's connected, there's nothing on top. By you cutting it, you are now.
No, but
1 second.
did you
for
put it
God's
on
sake.
top or not?
What?
No, there's not a mitzvah to put that the schach should be on top.
No,
There's
no,
a
no.
mitzvah you have to put it
No,
on
no,
top.
no. Let me say.
So as long as the schach
Good.
is connected
Good.
to the tree,
Yeah.
there is nothing on there. By you cutting it, it's the same thing as you are putting it.
Who
as you're
had that's the
putting
chiddush? Whoa,
I
where did we
agree,
get the
but
top?
that's the chiddush that makes
Okay,
sense.
no.
Now the next thing is the thing with the hadassim. The Indian is not with hadassim. The Indian is not the hadassim is the problem. By you fixing the hadassim, shkoch, you fix the hadassim. The problem here is you
Good.
need igud, which means you need to take the three things together
different
and
din.
tie them together, right?
It's a further
So you
extension.
fixing one
Very
of the
good.
things within the combination doesn't mean that you just did the combination.
The schach is good with the sukkah.
No, I'll explain to you what he's saying. In very simple words, he's saying the chiluk is, in the case of the sukkah and in the case of the tzitzis, over there the tzitza is the asiyah in this item. So it's much easier to hear a svara that cutting is an asiyah in the item. Masha'en came by the hadassim. We're saying knocking off the berries is an asiyah not only in the hadassim, in the daled minim. That's what he's saying.
Hadassim by on their own is nothing.
It's true.
Part of the whole
All
thing.
he's pointing out is that it's a further extension of Isiyas, which is true. It definitely is. Which, as we say, it's a chalik who says it's machalik, which ain't a chanami. That's what the Gemara is saying. Good. Let's go to the next side. Continues the Gemara. We have 7. Okay. Man to the apostle, according to Rav Shemini Yitzadok, Savar Loya Amrina Gabi success to Asiyasan. We do not say that what the snipping is the creation. And therefore, knock of the berries not creating the verse puzzle. Says the Gemara, loy. That is not the way to learn the machlaikis. Everyone's going to like Shmuel that cutting it does not create the schach. And over here, b'milav lulav meisukkah kamifligi anaya shteka man the machshav alayavinu lemeisukkah. Man the apostle. Sorry, Kinyan Succah. We'll read this again. We're in the flow. Let's just finish. Another teretz is for your land the lulav sarach agad. If you hold that lulav needs an agad, kuliyam loy pligi. Tialfinan lulav meisaka. Which every time we have three moving pieces, we have lulav sarach agad, we have a lima to sukkah, and we have a din of ksias and zuyas yasin. So the Gemara started by saying these two they agree with, and the machlek is about ksias and zuyas yasin. The Gemara is answering that no, this part they agree to, and they're arguing either about this or about this in a classical Gemara dichoy form. We look to Dani Tanoi. This is machlekes Tanoim. The Tani lulav bein be'agid bein she'ino agid kasher v'idam or agid kasher in agid pasul. Okay, that's. I can keep it going. We have to do this chazar again. Yeah, sorry.
Nobody makes a distinction that I mentioned.
It
doesn't. They all agree that the kitas and zuyas is the same as tzisas and zuyas.